I've been thinking.
I've got a secret that I want to share with you. For the first time in my life, I looked up the definition of you. I looked up the definition of Y-O-U. Never in my life have I looked this word up, because everybody knows what you means. And actually, I had never had the definition of you. Here's the definition. It's used to refer to the person or people that a speaker is addressing. It's used to refer to any person in general. I'm talking to you. I'm addressing you. It's just an assumption I've always had. I never found a reason to look it up. And the reason I looked it up is my question is, what do you think of you? As a child of God, saved and washed in the blood of the Lamb, forgiven for all of your issues, your sins against God, how do you see you? When you think of you, do you have positive vibes or negative? Do you see yourself as less than others? Do you see yourself superior to others? Do you see yourself better than others? I don't know. My question is, though, how do you see you? Because as a child of God, I fear that so many times we see ourselves in a manner that's so far below what God expects us to see. For instance, let's look at Genesis. Let's look at Genesis 1:25 through 27. Just a simple statement, but so magnificent. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make human beings. So as King James says, let us make man in our image to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all of the wild animals on earth, and the small animals that scurry around the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. So how are we made in the image of God when God is spirit? It's not speaking of physicality, but it's speaking of the moral, spiritual, and intellectual sense of who we are in comparison to everything else that he made. Probably would be pretty impossible for a squirrel or a bear or a lion to paint a beautiful picture. It would probably be impossible for them to address an audience at a graduation. They don't have the ability to do it, but we do. We have the ability to be intellectual. We have the ability to enjoy spirituality. We have the ability to bask in morality. Even though a lot of people ignore it, we have the ability. So I asked myself, why do we think so little of ourselves as children of God? Yes, we're flawed. And yes, sin played a major part in kind of, should I use the word deface that image as it relates to God? But it didn't destroy it. I read an article that said that so clearly. It said it may have defaced it, but it didn't destroy it. The ability is still there. And the more that we seek God, the more his image is reflected in us. But it starts with us. How do you see you? Do you let your flaws overwhelm you? Do you let your shortcomings overwhelm you? Do you let your failures overwhelm you, or do you sow into your mind that idea that God expected us to do something special as it related to his other creations? So my question is, how do you see you? How do you see you? Or do you let others define who you are and what you can be? As a child of God, we may not be famous ever in life, but it doesn't mean you can't be great and touch others and show them the God in you. The question is, how do you see you? Think about it, will you?